Today I'll teach you how to zombify your metahumans inside Unreal 5.6. I am going to use this guy that I created inside MetaHuman. I'll put also down in the comments below how you can create a MetaHuman inside 5.6 tutorial. So first thing that we need is to find the master material for the skin of our MetaHumans. If you used the default export settings, you should have it inside your project, MetaHumans, common, logdev UHM, skin, materials, and it should be called m_skin_unified baked. When we open initially the material, might be a little bit confusing the way that it's set it up, but the part that we mostly are interested is going to be the final material. Here you can see that it's just a material attribute and there is a function which is giving the information towards that attribute. So first thing we will do is I'm going to set a material attribute. We're gonna need another set material attribute. We can add all the elements that we're gonna need for our material. We're going to use a blend. Blend material attribute is the one that we need. We're going to connect the second material attribute to B, and then the pin goes into our material attribute on the shader. Now we are going to need an alpha, and for the alpha, I'm actually going to use a vertex color. The reason why I'm using a vertex color is going to be so that we can paint just the parts that we would like to zombify on our character. For this case, I'm going to use the red channel. And now let's build just some simple functionality on the material attribute that we are blending to the skin. I'm going to add a texture sample, convert it to parameter. I'm assigning just a free texture that I downloaded from internet. And I'm going to add a texture coordinate over here so that we can change the size of that texture later on. I'll make a constant parameter, put that on 1. I'm also going to give it a little bit of a roughness variety just so that everything is not so flat. So I'm just going to grab the multiplier and the texture size, duplicate them over here. I will rename this one into roughness, and I'm going to take just the blue channel in here. We are going to use a 1- to invert the result, and that is going to connect to our roughness. Now, by moving the parameter over here, you can see that we can go from a very not a rough surface to giving it a little bit or quite a lot of glossiness. You can see that we are starting to get a bit of variations here and there. But again, we just have a parameter that we can use to manipulate and adjust our result at the end. I'm not going to add a normal right now because I'm going to do a separate video talking a little bit about normal. And also I wanted to show you another way of blending using the normals. So subscribe and follow so that you don't miss that video. Now we can apply and save our material. Go to our viewport, and you can already see that that material is being applied on the character. Using the material instance for the character skin, we can adjust the texture size as we set it up earlier. So I reduced it a little bit just to get a result that I'm alright with. Now when we select the character, we can go into our mesh paint. And to visualize and understand why at the moment we have this texture tiled everywhere, we can turn on here on the visualization mode. We can turn, for example, the red channel. And you can see that this character comes with fully filled red channel. Let's turn it off. And what we will do is first I'm going to change this to our black color. And we're going to fill so that we remove all the information that we had from the red channel before. Then we are going to switch back to our white color. And by using my brush, we can just paint in the details to the spots that we want. We can hold Shift and remove some of the details. So this allows us to paint in these details for creating such either burned skin effect or like zombified kind of effect. Of course, we can tweak the material, the textures and everything else just so that we can make the whole thing a little bit more interesting. This is a quick and easy way how we can modify our MetaHuman textures. Subscribe and follow so that you don't miss my follow-up videos on the topic where we are going to go a little bit more in depth, see how we can create more complex skin materials with different effects and different ways to blend it. Thank you for tuning in today. See you next time.